Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi. Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
So I don't know, it's about 30 minutes before tip-off at Madison Square Garden between the Eastern Conference leading Detroit Pistons. They now have the best record in the NBA, by the way, better than Oklahoma City. They're at 41-13. And the Knickerbockers. And the Knicks, who did take out the Pistons in the playoffs last year, doesn't seem like they can beat them this year because, again, last night at the Garden, the Pistons get the road win. Cade Cunningham puts in 42. You know, guys like Grant Hill and Isaiah Thomas came close to winning MVPs for the Pistons in the past. This guy's going to get it. And no matter who the Knicks put on him, they couldn't cover him. And for the second time in not long, the Pistons made easy work of the Knicks. And all that is great NBA talk, but the biggest story from Madison Square Garden last night was, again, about 30 minutes before tip-off, I get a picture of two of my best buddies, real estate mogul Corey Zelnick and the great Brian Kilmeade, who follows me on this station each and every weekday, together, I believe, at the Delta Club, the very fancy club downstairs, hanging out before the game. So let's find out from the man who's also on Fox and Friends every morning and hosts the best show on Fox News, 10 p.m. Sunday nights, One Nation. If, in fact, he was there in that fancy club before tip-off between the Knicks and the Pistons. Brian, can you confirm or deny?
Yes. After every quarter, I went back. I was with UN Ambassador Michael Waltz, and we were able to get some great seats and go to a great game, which was close for 2.5 quarters. And then the Pistons were just better and deeper. You know, the one thing about the Knicks, they are playing their bench this year. You know, I don't go to a lot. I usually go to about 2 games a year, and it's usually 7 players, even in the middle of the season. And maybe that's why Thibodeau was fired. But they go deep. You know, you're losing a lot of guys for a lot of time, but I think they're trying to, you know, spread it out a little. But after the All-Star break, after getting crushed by every time they played them, they wanted to send a message, and they couldn't. And when I saw Brunson come out and say after the game, they just played great against us. Well, now it's up to the coaches. They got to come up with a way to stop this guy. There's always a way to stop a great player. But the question is, can anyone else beat you? And the Pistons got some depth. Like you look at Oklahoma. They got depth, right? San Antonio, they're good and they're deep. So the Knicks depend way too much on one guy. They really don't have another threat. Sometimes people get hot, but it's all about Brunson. And I just don't know. You know, they're good enough to be top 5 team. They showed last night they're not the best in the East. What do you think? I don't know how much you watch.
No, I watch a lot. They're not. Detroit's better. You know, Boston, we thought Boston would fade away this year because Jason Tatum has been out for the year, but Jaylen Brown has really stepped it up. He's been another MVP candidate. They may be better than the Knicks. So the Knicks, maybe at best, are the 3rd or 4th best team in the East. At best, the 6th, 7th, or 8th best team in the NBA. Point is, they're not winning a championship this year. I think Thibodeau came closer last year than Mike Brown will come this year. So we'll see, but it doesn't look all that good for the Knickerbockers, not in my estimation. So let me say this. I am clearly in the head of Jihad boy Mayor Mamdani, Brian. I'll tell you why. You remember about last month, I had dinner with the police commissioner, Jessica Tisch, and it was wonderful. We had a great time. We were good friends, you know. And there's no doubt that the mayor didn't like it. He said the right things. He said, listen, the police commissioner and I working together to keep this city safe. It's not my business who she had dinner with the night before, but something tells me he wasn't being completely honest, okay? And that office or around him reached out to Jess and said, hey, stay away. So I told you yesterday how proud I was of City Council Speaker Julie Menin. She came on this program 2 days ago and told me, hey, Sid, don't worry about the mayor and his proposed 9.5% property tax increase, because at the end of the day, we've got the power, not the mayor, to make sure that doesn't happen. It was a great conversation. I gave her a whole bunch of compliments before, during, and after the interview, and I thought everything was great. But the Daily News contacted Menin yesterday and said, there's a lot of people on the left, Mamdani people and other people in the city, who are very upset that you decided to do an interview on, of all shows, Sid Rosenberg. Now, I think Tish got the same phone call, Brian, but Tish did not give any comment, okay? Maybe she's bending. Maybe she's not coming back on. I don't know. But to Jessica Tish's credit, no comment. Menin, when asked for a comment, the Daily News got this from her people. She said that she condemns Sid Rosenberg's Islamophobic rhetoric. That'll be in the New York Daily News today. So I came back and said, I got to tell you, I'm very disappointed in Jewish Julie Menin. What are your thoughts on this whole blow-up?
If I'm her, I don't want that job enough to hurt the relationship with someone who's been loyal to them. And Julie Menin, you're not asking her to become a Republican. You're saying, here, listen, thanks for standing up on these issues. And as we know, when you become a mayor, it's less and less political. Governor more political, senator every day is political, and the president obviously is the ultimate politician that you reach the top spot. But when you're mayor and then you're a police commissioner, who cares? Conservative, liberal, impactful people, important voices who care about the city. They're behind a microphone and they're in positions of power. The police commissioner realizes that, get the pulse of the people by talking to that person who's got the ear of the people. And she should just stand up and say, I'll have dinner with who I want. Instead, Islamophobia, no. Being pro-Israel is not Islamophobia. Pointing out that the mayor not going to the coronation of the new cardinal in New York City for the first time in 100 years is a bit of a problem. Doing these things doesn't make you anti-Muslim. And just stand up to it, Sid. Do not back off, because you stand up for everybody who, every time you bring up criticism of somebody who happens to be a certain religion, then you're anti that. So you're not. You're saying you're concerned about the direction that he's going, and everyone's concerned. He is worse than we thought.
He really is, because he talked about how he's going to only tax the rich, which he still wants to do, but now he doesn't care, right? He wants to tax people making $125,000 and up, and you realize with the tax burden in this city that a salary of $125,000, you take home about $65,000, which is nothing. You can't live in this city on that. And then we find out yesterday that the former mayor, Eric Adams, wanted to add 5,000 cops, not to put us over the top. 5,000 cops would get us where we need to be. It's not excess. It's where we need to be. And Mamdani said yesterday, no thanks. So, his whole, I'm behind the NYPD, I'm behind Jessica Tish, I love the cops, and all the guys I speak to, okay, no names, big-time cops, even presidents of unions. They didn't believe a word this guy said, not a word. They have been scared to death since he won, and it took them less than 2 months to crap on the cops. Your thoughts?
A couple of things. If you didn't like his policies, you couldn't say he couldn't do the job. Anybody would say, I don't like the job you're doing, but he could do the job. I think there's a combination of things happening. He's got some things that he ran on and did some hokey TikTok videos with, but they're not policies. He's behind to be a mayor is not a fun job. A lot of times you're a technocrat. You're sitting there, you're doing things. There's no glory. There's no media. You're deciding where this goes and this building's here and what project gets financed. And now he has to do real decisions. He has no idea what he's doing. He's probably never even, I mean this, I bet you he never even balanced his checkbook. And now he's got to sit there and go, I'm out of money. I'm going to fund all these social culture projects, the LGBTQ project, advocating for DEI, all this stuff. And at the same time say we're out of money and not understanding you can't have it all. So I think he's incompetent, agenda-driven, but at 34 years old, he only had one job. It was a summer camp. Now he's got this job. That other job as an assemblyman was a no-show job. He never sponsored any legislation, never said any memorable speeches. I mean, so now he's got his first job, and he's finding it hard because you actually have to work for a living. You can't just assign everything. You got to make decisions. There's no one screening you from the press. You remember Rudy Giuliani, all the brawls he had with the press. You know, Bloomberg was a whatever you think of him. The guy worked 20 hours a day, took the subway, was constantly visible. The guy never stopped. And even if you don't agree with him, you go, well, this guy knows what he's doing. De Blasio slept for 8 years and ruined the city. It started to get back on its feet in many ways, especially crime-wise. And now this guy, it does not know how to put his hands on the wheel.
Rural Americans deserve access to the best our nation has to offer, especially when it comes to health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families' health. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.